Hello everyone. Welcome to today's discussion on sociology as an optional for UPSC CSE. Today we are going to talk about how to approach sociology, what is the subject exactly, what resources to use, how to use them, how to revise, how to prepare, and how to attempt answers. So that is the topic for the day. I'll just introduce myself. My name is Anuja Trivedi. I graduated from IIT Delhi in 2020. After that, I've written 3 attempts. I've cleared prelims thrice, and in 2021 CSE, I got rank 241, and I've joined the service IRS, Customs and Indirect Taxes. I am writing the exam again in 2022. So that's about me. My optional is of course sociology, and that has been my optional to begin with also. I have enjoyed my time with my optional and it has fetched me marks also. So let's start with it. This is me, as we know. Okay. So first we'll talk about what is sociology. So we know it's an optional, we know it's a humanities subject. A lot of you all might not be from that background. It is necessary to understand that sociology is the study of society, of course. It is a subject that is very close to all of us because all of us have also grown up in society. So as we know, it is the study of human social relationships and institutions. But what are social relationships? Social relationships exist between, for example, your employer and yourself, your family and yourself, your religious members and yourself, and so on. And institutions, of course, are also like this only. Your school is an institution, the nation is an institution. So approaching sociology from this point of view, that we already know what the subject is about and we want to do an academic study of the subject, will help you generate interest, and it will help you see sociology from a broader perspective rather than just seeing it as an optional that has to be finished for one exam. So that's about sociology, just a brief introduction. So why do we take sociology? Like, why would one pick up sociology? How does it help us? So this is a slide which explains that. Sociology helps us develop critical thinking here and a questioning attitude. For example, a lot of time we are studying different reports. We study the Oxfam report that such and such percentage of people own such and such percentage of the country's wealth. Now, if we look at it from a sociological perspective, then we start to question why. Why do certain people own certain wealth? Why do some people don't? How does this shape the society? How does this advantage some people, disadvantage some people? So this is how you should approach sociology, you know, with curiosity, with interest. Another example over here is when we talk about the changing face of India. So we all know that India is changing. All of us are wearing jeans today. All of us are eating different food. We're watching Hollywood movies. Why is India changing? To what extent is India changing? And also, what is change? What is modernization? Are we actually modernizing, or are we actually going back? So these are the kind of questions that might not come to the lay person when they think of sociology or society, but it should come to you as we begin to study the subject. So there's just some day-to-day examples on why sociology is an interesting optional and why it's a lot of fun also to study the subject. Moving on, so now let's start with the CSE part of it. Sociology syllabus, of course, it has 2 papers, 250 marks each. You have to attempt 2 compulsory questions, question 1 and question 5, and 3 you can choose. So that's the pattern. The optional syllabus is to be completed within a reasonable time frame. You can take around, I think, 3 to 4 months because sociology is not a huge optional. The syllabus is quite limited. So if you take out 3-4 months of specific optional study, you can finish this optional very easily. Of course, you can read the syllabus from the official website. I'm just introducing it to you. So part 1, sociology, we learn about what is sociology, as we just discussed a little bit on that, and then moving forward, how did it originate? So we learn about the Industrial Revolution, the Renaissance, how did sociology become a subject, what is the scope, what do we study in sociology, research methods, etc. Then paper 1, very important topic, the thinkers. We discuss Marx. Some of you might be knowing Marx already because Marx is a very famous thinker. We talk about Weber, we talk about a lot of other thinkers as well. Then we come to other topics of sociology. We talk about what is power. What power would include politics, power would include bureaucracy as well. We talk about religion. How did religion come into being? Why does religion exist? All of these interesting questions. The scope is broader in paper 1. It is basically you trying to understand what sociology is, what have other people said about sociology, and then using these two things to understand the different components of society so that you can develop sociological thinking. Sociological thinking is different from the layman understanding of society, and all of this will prepare a very solid base for you to come to paper 2. Now paper 2 will focus on the Indian society. We've learnt about what all sociology, society, components, how does it apply to the Indian society. So of course we have some Indian thinkers. We will talk about how colonial rule affected society, how did the British affect society, westernization, modernization. Then we will talk about rural India, urban India, our tribes, our caste, politics in India. All of this is interconnected. You will learn about different interconnections between them. So it's quite interesting. The main emphasis in paper 2 would be applying sociological thinking in the Indian context, because paper 2 is quite dynamic. And if you look at previous year's questions as well, you will notice that paper 2 is not so straightforward. So if you have very strong basics in paper 1 and you can apply them to paper 2, that's very helpful. So this is the overview of the syllabus for sociology. So what do we do with it? You can read about the syllabus in the official website, what is given, all the topics you can study about. So what do we do with the syllabus, right? What do we do? Okay, we know that we have to study this. So read the syllabus. Google some terms. Just take the syllabus. You know, what is stratification? Just Google it. What is mobility? You can just Google it. Sit with the syllabus. Let yourself get into that mode that this subject is about XYZ. You should have a certain comfort with the syllabus. So, because when you start studying, what happens is that you will pick up a chapter, you will do a vertical deep dive into the chapter, and this will finish, then you will do a second vertical deep down into the next chapter. So all of these deep downs, sometimes you forget to look at the broader picture. And what questions come in the exam, they ask you about a broader perspective. For example, a question statement can come that politics in India has changed from the 1950s to today, comment or analyze. So now if you've created silos in your head that I have only studied religion, मैंने सिर्फ कास्ट पढ़ा है पॉलिटिक्स के साथ, या मैंने सिर्फ ये पढ़ा है पॉलिटिक्स के साथ, मुझे सिर्फ फर्स्ट पेपर आती है, फर्स्ट पेपर में सेकंड पेपर का नहीं आता है, तो दैट लिमिट्स योर थिंकिंग. That will limit the amount of creativity or the amount of dimensions that you can add to your answer. So that is where the syllabus becomes very important. Because if they ask you about something and you know the syllabus heads, you can create a lot of more points from that. So it's very helpful to have a mind map. Mind map baskets of things you need to know. So that when you study them, your brain can put them into the baskets that you've already created, which are all interconnected. So you won't feel confused or overwhelmed when you're like, for example, deep into studying kinship and family. So you've forgotten everything else. That will not happen. If you have the entire syllabus roughly in your head, you don't have to mug it up, of course. While studying, you can relate to the syllabus, you can focus on the actual requirement, you can prioritize, and very importantly, you will do sensible value addition. Because value addition, there's no end to it. So if you know the syllabus, you know that this value addition will help me, this will not help me, you will not waste time. Also, along with writing the exam, if you don't know the answer to some question, you can at least place it under a syllabus head. For example, nobody can claim to know 100% sociology paper which comes. But if you can relate it to some other syllabus head, you can make some sense of it because you know what is the requirement from this exam. You can write something on it if it comes in question 1 or 5. So that's why syllabus understanding the syllabus and having some pointers in your head, not mugging it up, is very important. Okay. Next important thing is previous year's papers. That's everybody focuses a lot on this already, and that's a good thing. How do you use it? So PYQs are a very handy tool. I'll tell you why. Because they act as your insight into the examiner's mind. The only way you know what UPSC is going to ask is you have some insight of the past year's papers कि ऐसा पूछा जाता है तो हो सकता है इस बार ऐसा पूछा जाए. ये एक ही है. किसी भी स्टडी मटेरियल में, किसी भी किताब में आपको ये नहीं मिलेगा कि UPSC क्या पूछता है. So that's why it's very important. You should briefly go through them before starting the topic and underline themes, repeated terms, something you find interesting. मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है ये क्या पूछा, मैं बस पढ़ना चाहती हूँ इसके बारे में. तो पहले कर लो. ये चैप्टर चालू करने से पहले आप देख लो कि 5 साल में ये पूछा गया है, तो ये तो मुझे ज़रूरी पढ़ना है इसमें, जहाँ भी आएगा. सो व्हेन यू आर एक्चुअली स्टडिंग द टॉपिक, आपकी आँख पकड़ लेगी वो शब्द, क्योंकि आपने पहले वो पढ़ा है. सो ऑल ऑफ द थीम्स, प्रॉपर नाउन्स, थिंकर के नाम, ये सब आप पहले से ही थोड़ा सा कर लें. Then you can start your books, you can start notes, you can keep coming back to the PYQs. So what will happen is that when you do both of these things simultaneously, you will internalize them. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि सब कुछ पढ़ लिया, अब मैं PYQ खोलती हूँ पर अब तो मैं भूल गई कि मैंने क्या पढ़ा था पहले, तो वो सब कुछ मम्बल जम्बल हो गया. So that will not happen. Let them act as your insight. But also very importantly, I would not advise that you go strictly by PYQs कि PYQ ही पढ़ लिया और बाकी कुछ नहीं पढ़ा. स्पेशली फॉर पेपर 2. पेपर 1 में काम चल जाता है. पेपर 1 में काफ़ी थीम्स रिपीट होती हैं, काफ़ी स्टैंडर्ड पेपर आता है, स्पेशली सेक्शन ए वाला. बट पेपर 2 और पेपर 1 का बी पार्ट भी इसमें और डायनेमिक पेपर है, क्योंकि ऐसा है कि सोशोलॉजी चेंज होती रहेगी. मतलब अब जैसे कि लास्ट 2-3 साल से NEP पे बहुत सवाल पूछे हैं, कोविड पे पूछे हैं, वर्क फ्रॉम होम पूछा, फार्मर्स मूवमेंट्स पूछा. तो unless and until you are up to date with everything, you have your conceptual clarity, you have basic themes are clear in your head, you know some 4-5 thinkers very अच्छे से, so you can apply that to current affairs etc. Otherwise you won't be able to handle such questions. So it's very important कि आप basic चीज़ें अच्छे से पढ़ लें and PYQs के साथ complement करें rather than सिर्फ एक चीज़ करने के. So this is how you should be analyzing previous year's papers. फिर जब आप previous year paper पढ़ें बाद में और आप you need a solution, you need to know how to write good answers. So we have a solution for that. This is something that I've helped make. I've made a lot of answers in the model answers booklet that Shun is releasing. I'll just let you see. So for example, this is from 2022, the latest exam. Explain the implications of feminization of work in developing societies. So this is again a contemporary topic. This is not a standard question कि इस thinker ने क्या बोला था, इसका critique कर दो. इसमें you have to think खुद से. So you define what is feminization of work. Now when you talk about implications, you talk about some sociological theories which can help you analyze this. You can talk about modernization theory, you can talk about developmentalists, double burden of work, informal sector. You can quote a couple of thinkers. When we talk about thinkers, 2 to 3 thinkers per answer, more than enough. Even if you don't have any thinkers, it's okay. You can't have thinkers for all answers, it's fine. The best thinkers are the classical thinkers that everybody knows about. That's just a short note. Then we talk about clustering, impact on working class, formal, informal gap, knowledge society. All of this in context of feminization of work, a couple of thinkers. Then we talk about the way forward, that we can increase formal economy, we can add a new perspectives in which we can acknowledge caregiving work, equal treatment, all of that, and then an optimistic, comprehensive conclusion. So when I was preparing, these kind of things were not available. I had to do my own research and make my own answers, then reach out to a couple of people, check with them. But using this, you write your own answers, of course. Please go ahead and write your own answers. Take this, compare, what did you miss, what did we miss, make a good answer, keep that with you. If you do that for the past 8 years, 9 years PYQs, you will be thorough with the syllabus. You will be very solid with a lot of UPSC requirements. So this is just an example. Okay. Now coming to resources that you can use. There are many in the market and it's a very subjective choice. What do you want to use? Maybe you like somebody, you like how they teach, you like how their notes, you like their vocabulary, it's easy to understand, go ahead with them. This is just a general guide. It worked out for me. You can check them out. Also browse through other material. You can use your standard books, Harlambus, Ritzer, IGNOU if you want. But I will emphasize on browse, because do not hoard material. Do not think that I am missing out on something, so I will buy everything, then I will go through everything, because there's no end to that process. If you have time, touch on all these books, see what you like, see what you don't. But I'm emphasizing again, only browse. Don't waste too much time on it. If you have more than 14 months for this preparation, आप सारी किताबें पढ़ सकते हो थोड़ा थोड़ा. बट अगर आपके पास नहीं है तो कंपाइलेशंस अवेलेबल होते हैं, छोटी बुक्स अवेलेबल होती हैं, उन पे ज़्यादा फोकस करें. डू नॉट ओवर एक्सटेंड. इट्स अ स्मॉल ऑप्शनल, it's a beautiful optional. It's very easy to understand if you like it. Stick to 2 sources maximum. Mine were, I used a Nitin Sangwan book and I used IGNOU का material. दोनों बहुत simple लगा मुझे, पढ़ने में अच्छा लगता था, overwhelming नहीं था, तो आप ये यूज़ कर सकते हैं. इसके अलावा I had a test series for sociology, जिससे मैं value addition करती थी. I used to write, then paper check होके आता था. I used to compare my solutions, what all I am missing, and I would just add that. So other than that, keep reading current affairs, keep applying sociology to these current affairs, especially when आप society का जो part होता है current affairs का वो पढ़ते हैं. 2-3 थिंकर लगा सकते हैं कि इसमें ये, इसमें वो. मार्क्स हो गए, वो काफ़ी जगह लग जाते हैं. रिस्क सोसाइटी है, काफ़ी जगह लग जाती है. डिसफंक्शंस, फंक्शंस. So basically you have study material, you have PYQs, you have test series, and if you've joined a foundation course for sociology, then they will help you cover all of that. Revision source के लिए, now this is something that I've worked upon. I've made a lot of topics in paper 2. I've reviewed the entire paper 1. What you can do is you can take them along in your entire preparation course. इसमें सब कुछ का synthesis है. तो हमने बहुत सारा टाइम निकाल करके सारे सोर्सेज पढ़े और उसमें से सारी इंपॉर्टेंट और अच्छी चीज़ें निकाली. वी पुट देम इन अ वेरी क्लीन, नीट, इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड बुलेट फॉर्मेट्स, ऑल थिंकर्स विच वर इम्पॉर्टेंट. और ये बस 2 बुक्स में इसका साइनॉप्सिस करा है. इट्स वेरी ब्यूटिफुल टू रीड, इट्स वेरी इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड. बट वॉट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट इज़ दैट यू टेक देम अलॉन्ग. जस्ट कीप दिस बुक साइड में व्हेन यू आर मेकिंग योर ओन नोट्स एंड दो एडिशन कर लो. There is no one way or the other कि सिर्फ ये या सिर्फ वही. These can very beautifully complement your preparation. Now, how to study. If we talk about how to study, first of all, I would like to add that don't just purchase or get into a foundation course just like that without inquiring first whether they complete the syllabus, whether paper 2 is also done, because sociology paper 2 sometimes a lot of people miss out on, whether it is done on time, whether they provide you support, all of that, and then join a foundation course if you are joining one. And this is about self-preparation. First, again, it's very subjective. It depends on how you like to study yourself, and you should enjoy the process. Don't delay your optional preparation. Optional carries a lot of weightage. It is very difficult to cover if you have not started it pehle. So don't delay it. Take it along with your GS preparation. It also depends कि आपने अभी तक कितना कर लिया है या आपका कौन सा अटैम्प्ट है, आपके पास कितना टाइम है. डेली 3 से 4 घंटे देंगे, बहुत कंफर्टेबली ख़त्म हो जाएगा सोशियोलॉजी. आप now what I did, what you should ideally do is that once you start sociology very fresh, basic से start कर रहे हैं, then just pick up कुछ लाइट रीडिंग ऑफ ईजी मटेरियल जो आपको समझ में आता हो, जिसमें शब्द आसान हो, उसको पढ़िए. बस जस्ट डू अ लाइट रीडिंग. रीड 1 chapter, 2 chapters, सी व्हाट सोशियोलॉजी इज़ अबाउट. शब्द क्या यूज़ करे हैं, क्या मतलब है, मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है, ये मुझे नहीं अच्छा लग रहा है. गेट इन टू इट. जस्ट नोट मेकिंग इज़ नॉट रिक्वायर्ड इन दिस राउंड, बिकॉज what I've realized is a lot of times when you're making notes, then your entire focus is on making notes. तो तुम ऐसे ये पेन वो पेन, इसमें मैं ये लिख लूँ, इसमें वो लिख लूँ, समझ नहीं आता फिर. तो आप पहले समझना है, समझना ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है. तो समझ लिया, पहले बार में नोट्स मत बनाइए फर्स्ट आइट्रेशन में, इफ़ यू हैव द टाइम. डू नॉट रोट लर्न, एग्ज़ाम के टाइम पे याद नहीं आएगा. बहुत कम टाइम होता है, बहुत टाइम क्रंच होती है, तो उस समय फिर वही याद आता है जो आपके ऐसे समथिंग विच इज़ वेरी डीपली प्लेस्ड इन योर हेड. तो जो भी रोट लर्निंग होता है ना, यू फॉरगेट इट. So there is no use. Don't rote learn. It's not necessary also in this optional. And later the syllabus will become so huge that your memory will start to fail you. Understand the concepts, very important. Then in the second iteration, you can make notes. You can take the preparatory booklet that I was talking about with you, add to that, scribble, do whatever you want to, make good notes and good revision material you already have. Take it along with you. Be very attentive while making notes. Don't just summarize. Note making is not summarizing. Note making के लिए आपने पहले PYQs रेफ़र किए हैं, आपके पास शून्य का बुकलेट है, आपके पास कुछ आप टॉपर्स वगैरह के वीडियोस भी देख सकते हैं. अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट एंड देन make notes of things which are important, which are asked. Don't summarize. That is hardly of any help. Okay, I have already talked about this. Make special note of all theories, keywords, thinkers, and be meticulous in that. For example, what I did was, if there is a page, I just made a margin. All the thinkers मैं black pen से यहाँ लिखती थी और उन्होंने क्या बोला blue pen से यहाँ पे लिखती थी. So that will help you when you are revising. So you can just look at the thinkers and हल्का 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 and you're done with the revision. Make sure they're neat. You can use 2 color pens if that helps you. Make margins. Be meticulous while doing it because it will later on save you a lot of time. Always leave space for value addition. This is something that I didn't do and I regretted it later. And if you're using some online software, etc., then it's fine. You will forget what the book said or lecturer said. You come back to the notes. So don't be lazy with your notes. Now, coming to the current affairs part, this is very important, especially in paper 2. Whatever sources you are using for current affairs, use that. Take 1 page. Try to apply sociology on these articles. For example, climate change and environment. Whenever you will study current affairs और उसमें environment होगा तो climate change की बात ज़रूर करेंगे. Then you should be able to recall theories from stratification and inequalities, how climate change affects different communities differently. What is stratification in that? Some thinkers you can think of risk theory, you can think of mobility, you can think of climate change और modernization के बीच में भी कुछ connect है क्या. तो इस तरह से आप एक पेज लीजिए और उसमें whatever you can think from a sociological perspective, write that. Just mind map, brainstorm, internalize it. Make rough notes, throw them away. Make mind maps, teach people. Use flashcards, you can use a whiteboard, you can do pop quizzes. The thing is that sociology's advantage is that it is a small optional and it's a comparatively closer optional. It's not so abstract. You understand what it is being talked about. So it should be at the back of your hands. कि आपको पता है फिर कि इसका हम जो इस सोशियोलॉजी का कंपैरेटिव एडवांटेज है उसका आप फिर फ़ायदा उठा पाएँ. तो आप जितना भी आपको जो भी whatever works for it, do it. Just be thorough, become very thorough with sociological concepts. Now coming to another very important part of this, how do you write answers? And my first thought on this is to just start writing. There is no perfect time to start. There is no perfect level of preparation from where you will start. Finish one topic, try to find solved PYQs or solved questions. Don't look at them, write your own answers, compare. You know, it might be a very bad answer to begin with. That's completely okay, nobody's grading you. Just start writing, write some bad answers, then you will write better answer, again you will write bad answer. Dhire dhire you will start to write good answers. So don't be afraid. Just start with it. Whenever you can finish a topic or a chapter, you can start writing questions on it. Write your own answers, write badly, but you have to start. You can match them in model answers or you can get them checked. You can course correct. Again, very important, course correct. Do it wrongly, course correct, do it rightly. Slowly start sticking to the time limit as well. It's very difficult to stick to the time limit when you are just beginning, but do not be complacent with it, otherwise you won't be ever able to contain yourself within the time limit. So acknowledge it, and start your 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever timer, and try to keep it in between that. A good measure would be 3 to 4 answers every day, but again, it depends on your timetable. If you're doing something else that day and you can't write sociology answers, that's okay. But make sure you write in a week, 3 days you take out to write your sociology answers, because practice is extremely important, especially if you want to write it within the time frame. How to write papers. You can start with sectional papers, which is what I did, because it's just easier to do that you can do 3 chapters अच्छे से and then you write a paper on that, so you will understand कि इतना पढ़ा था, इतना याद आया, इतना मैं भूल गई, इतना मैंने गलत लिख दिया. कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, सेक्शन पेपर से स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं. जब आप क्वेश्चंस, whenever you are beginning to select which questions to attempt, please select that very, very carefully, because this is one of the things that will have a huge impact on the final day and the marks you get, whether you select the correct questions. So 2 मिनट में करना है, अच्छे से पढ़ना है. जिस भी क्वेश्चन में आपको लगे कि इसमें मैं कम से कम कुछ थ्योरी लगा सकती हूँ, कुछ थिंकर दे सकती हूँ, कुछ अच्छी बात कह सकती हूँ, मैंने इसके बारे में पढ़ा है, ट्राई टू अटेम्प्ट दैट. डू नॉट ट्राई टू अटेम्प्ट क्वेश्चन जो हवा में आपने लिख दिया और वो थोड़े जीएस जैसे लगने लगते हैं, तो इसलिए वो नहीं करना है. I write the compulsory questions first, it's up to you, but just I think writing compulsory questions first frees you a little bit, then you can make your way about for the rest of the paper. 10 मार्कर्स 5-6 मिनट में लिखने की कोशिश होनी चाहिए कि आप एक 10 मार्कर 6 मिनट में लिख सकें. 20 मार्कर्स 12 minutes is the aim. This is what you will drill into yourself while you practice writing answers. Start slow and then you accelerate during your preparation. When you write your paper, your goal should be that whatever content I have, I will put on this paper and I will make life easy for the examiner. Examiner को बहुत पेपर चेक करने होंगे, आपको नंबर चाहिए, आप एग्जामिनर को खुश करना चाहते हो, तो कंटेंट तो चाहिए. यू नीड गुड क्वालिटी कंटेंट, अदरवाइज यू विल नॉट गेट मार्क्स. बट यू ऑल्सो हैव टू मेक लाइफ ईजी फॉर द एग्जामिनर, दैट शी डज नॉट हैव टू सर्च फॉर थिंग्स इन योर आंसर. योर हैंड राइटिंग इज नॉट गुड, यू हैव नॉट मेड एनी डायग्राम्स, सो डोंट डू दैट. राइट नीट, legible, use headings, use boxes, underline keywords, draw lines to separate different parts of your answer. The goal is not to make your paper look beautiful. The goal is to make the life of your examiner easy. That is how you should present. Now you're writing papers, you're getting them evaluated. Be very meticulous while taking feedback. Don't just write, keep writing, and not take any feedback. Take feedback, be meticulous about taking feedback. Introduction, conclusion, you should have your templates ready. For example, they ask you what is Marx's theory of alienation. You should know how you are going to introduce and conclude that, because that's a reasonable expectation. क्योंकि कम topics हैं, तो आप कुछ topics का introduction और conclusion बना लिए, that you can see किसका बनाना है from PYQs and important themes. उसका ready होना चाहिए. Body, keep adding to your notes. Add current affairs, add diagrams. Current affairs fetch you a lot of marks if you can apply them correctly. So please do that. Topper की copies ज़रूर पढ़ें कि what are they doing correctly, what can I learn from them. You have to crack the code of writing a good answer. तो आप जहाँ से भी wherever you can take tips which yield results, take them, try them out, see if you're getting marks or not, course correct. It's a cycle. Instead of abandoning your own style and flow, remove in bits and pieces, add and subtract what is working for you. Don't do this कि अब मैंने एक टॉपर की कॉपी पढ़ ली, अब मैं I will want to write exactly like her or exactly like him. That will confuse you, that will make you lose time and lose confidence. There's no need to do that anyway. You have your own style, you have your own flow. Just add, subtract, keep doing what works for you. In conclusion, I think that sociology can be fun and interesting and easy to understand, and it'll also help you a lot in essay, GS1 society, GS2 welfare, GS4, etc. I have used sociology a lot. It's one of these optionals which have multiplying effects. If you know sociology well, you can use it in sociology, you can use it a lot of places elsewhere, you can use it in your life. That really helps. So I would suggest that you go into sociology with the right attitude, that I want to learn, and this is not just some optional studying. This is something that I like, that I'll enjoy, and I think that is what is going to make sociology fun for you, and it'll also fetch you marks, which is what we want. So thank you for attending this session, and I hope this helped you.